What's going on, guys? Welcome to a fresh video. So today I wanted to talk to you about something that I think some people are going to like and some people are probably going to hate. So as this white 31 starts going back together and drawing to a close, mine's pretty much ready for sale, and we did say that this was almost like a farewell to our R31 community, building this car, doing all this. Well, all right, come on, let's walk and talk. So guys, you have to bear with me on this one because I've got to do a fair bit of walking around to film this whole video. But similar to how we ended up building my 31 again, you know, we've ended up having to sell our 231s to move on to bigger and better things with the business. Obviously, as these guys probably are aware, we are selling them to fund the dyno that we've just bought, which is going to be very good for us as far as our business goes and progressing that, which is sort of priority number one. So as sad as that is, it's for a good cause. It's got to happen, there's no way around it. So, similar to when I built my Skyline the first time, it was a matter of what car could I get together the fastest for the cheapest so that I could get to the track and get seat time, which worked out pretty well for me. You know, that Skyline's been pretty good. It's definitely very good now. Now that it's ready for the new owner, it's very good. But I was thinking on the way out here the other day, you know, what car could I get together for the fastest and cheapest possible so I can get driving again ASAP, because I don't want to be not driving for another 12 months again. You know, I don't want that to be the case like it was last time. I want to get back to the track because I really am enjoying driving. I'm loving how well my driving's developing, and I really would like to start getting to doing some tandems and driving more with other people and really getting a lot more driving experience that I haven't got yet. So unfortunately with my 31, as you know, it had a sort of sentimental value to me. It was really straight, I really liked it. I always planned to put it back on the street, and I never particularly wanted to tandem drive with it because I didn't want to bend it and beat it up, and you know, I wanted to keep it nice and clean because I did want to put it back on the street. So I was thinking on the way out here, as you guys are aware, my MX-83 project is sort of at a stop point simply for the fact that I need some more support for the chassis. Things like suspension and steering setup and that, there's not a lot of options for us here in Australia. Nothing that's really affordable anyway, or, you know, viable to do. As I explained in the last update I did on that car, which I will chuck a little thing up in the corner here, I'll chuck an info card so you can go watch it if you missed that. But I've thought about that car quite a lot, where I want that car to be, what I want to do with that car, and it pretty much has come to a complete redesign and rebuild of what the idea of the car is. So I'm at the point now where I sort of want to start that car again almost, and build pretty much like a really decent turbo LS setup for it, rear mount radiator, full cage. I pretty much want that car to be, I want to be able to go out in that car and compete Pro-Am sort of thing. So I want to start doing high tech, things like that. That's my plan for that car. You know, fingers crossed, it's probably a pretty lofty goal, but fingers crossed I'd get to that point with my driving, and I want to build that car for that level of driving. So I've thought about that car a lot. I've looked at it a lot, especially between that car and working on Adams. I've been through it all. I've got all these ideas in my head of how I want that car to be. It's going to be a lot of custom fab work, just a lot of work that's going to be not so much cheaper money as I explained in that video that you can go and watch, but just a lot of time and effort and work and practice. So that car is going to be a little ways off. You know, I'm talking maybe next year, maybe the year after. So that car's still a ways off. And for all you guys who are really keen on the Barra Silvia, don't get this twisted. The Barra Silvia I still want to go ahead, but once again, the Barra Silvia I still need to buy quite a few things for, which are expensive, i.e. a gearbox. I need a Barra T56. Now, for some reason, the Ford T56s are a lot more expensive than the Holden ones. I don't know why that is, but the fact is I need a T56 for what I want to do with that car, which straight up is more money. I also need a front end for that car, like I need front guards, I need a front bumper. There's a lot more for that car that I need to buy that I don't need to buy for this idea that I've got coming up in my brain. So anyway, I've blabbed on about it enough, so we'll get into what I'm sort of thinking. So this here is my LS1 TR6060 combo. Wait, sorry, that's T56. That's my TR6060 there. So this here is my LS1 TR6060 combo, which is earmarked for the Cressida. So this is my combo that I want to put in the Cressida that came out of my Tiger Market SS. For those of you who've been following the channel for quite a while, you'll know. So this has just literally been sitting here. As you guys know, that Cressida build started out to be a pretty budget throw together. This was all done in a hurry, pulled out of the SS, ready to go into the Cressida. That was all going swell. Everything was going fine until I realized that to get the chassis and suspension set up the way I wanted it to was going to end up costing me more money than it would have cost to buy my 31 back and rebuild it, which is what I did. So since then, this has just sat stagnant, sat here wrapped up, going to waste, essentially not being used for the time being. So this is where some of you are going to be really stoked, and a lot of you LS haters are probably not going to like. But the way I see it is, until the Cressida is ready to be put back together or ready to be built, this is going to sit here and do nothing anyway. So I may as well put it to use in that time. So I've got that here. Over here on this shelf of crap, we have cut and shut modified knuckles, nice vibe extended LCAs for S13. I have a set of S13 hubs somewhere on here. I have a pair of S13 aspirated brakes, discs and rotors. So as you can see, that's essentially a front end setup for an S13 style front end. Oh, there are my hubs. Oh no, it's rear hubs. Oh no, I got some somewhere. This here, 28 spline R31 axles, and wrapped up in that rag is my mini spooled 4-pinion 389 center, or it might be a 37 center, whatever the center that originally was in my 31 before I sold it. That's a center out of that. I've never actually confirmed what ratios it was. So here I have a good 4-pinion 31 center with 28 spline axles. Makes sense, right? So in this area all of crap here, I have a full S13 front end setup. I have enough parts to put together a 4-pinion 28 spline R31 diff, and I have an LS1 and a TR6060 that's sitting here doing nothing. So moving on from there, another thing I forgot to point out is in that shed I also have a driver's side, passenger side. I've got one Series 3 R31 headlight in there. So moving on from there, I've got to walk back up here. Shout out Whitey's Wiring. Go follow his YouTube channel, see what he's up to. Does some pretty cool stuff. So here we have our R31 silhouette parts car, which we purchased to use for parts for obviously the white 31 to get the best of all the 31s we had around. So this is what the interior and stuff came out of. We've certainly got our money's worth out of this car. As you can see here, we've got a very nice straight driver's door, and inside, I can't actually open that door, inside we have a very nice straight driver's front guard. So these are important. Also on the back here I have another Series 3 headlight, which is actually going to be the pair for the one that I've got down there. So we've got a pair of Series 3 R31 headlights, we've got a good driver's side door and guard, as well as, like I said, all down there, that's set up with the LS1 and TR6060. So now we've got to cruise on down here. So down this end of the world we have the Nissan Pantera. So this is the Pantera, or Series 1 R31 that Liam and I bought. Liam and I sort of split, not halves, but we went in it together. Liam got a heap of parts off it for his 31 that he had back. If you have been on the channel for that long, that was a very long time ago. So Liam used a lot of parts off this for his R31, not the one he's got now, the one he had before. I took the rest because I used a lot of these parts in my 31 when I got it back, if you remember that as well. So I used the fuel tank and the fuel lines and the brake lines, a few other things. So needless to say, this is actually not a bad shell. It's pretty straight. It's great. It was Grandma spec, as you saw when we bought it. It had the sun visor, which Liam stole for his, all that crap. So it had all those, granny spec things on it. So it hasn't really been thrashed, it hasn't been bent. What the story is apparently the old couple that owned it or something, they parked it on a slight incline, opened the door and it rolled back and the door hit the tree and it did this. So it's bent this driver's side guard and this door doesn't seal properly. It's a bit sad. But as I just explained, up there in the silhouette we have a good driver's side door, driver's side guard. So, there's that. So the Pantera came, obviously they were the CA24 cylinder and the rear diffs were not 28 spline 4-pinion. They were a 25 spline 2-pinion Borg Warner 75. But the housing is exactly the same, and as a lot of you 31ers know, the good old Pantera came with the highly sought after 411 gift gear ratio. So as you can see here, we've got diff casing, 28 spline axles and 4-pinion center. We've got a choice of either 411 diff gears, or I'm pretty sure they're 389 diff gears. I'll have to confirm though. So we've got a choice of different diff gears we could use with the mini spool. We've got enough panels and car around that we could put together a straight enough car. And we've got obviously an LS1 and 6-speed that is going to sit there and do nothing but sit there otherwise. So what my plan is, what I'm looking with this is put the other silhouette guard and door My plan is to leave the Series 1 bonnet on it because I quite like the look of the Series 1 bonnet with the Series 3 headlights and bar. So my plan is my pair of Series 3 headlights into this Series 1 front end, Series 3 infill panel, Series 3 front bar, Series 1 bonnet. Big open grille. I reckon it looks cool. I really do like that look. And then obviously my full S13 modified front end into this car, another set of those cheap Chinese coilovers, which I haven't managed to break anyway, and we will have ourselves a nice, easy, thrown together, cheap drift beater with an LS that is going to be put to use at least for a little while, and it's using parts I've pretty much all got lying around. So although the Pantera is an auto shell, I do have still quite a few S13 clutch pedals and masters lying around. Those sorts of things are fairly cheap anyway. Actually, I can't even use the S13 master either way because I need a bigger master for my TR6060 because they're a bigger slave. But the fact is that it is a car that I can throw together out of parts that are otherwise just going to sit. So, you know, like I was saying, that LS is just sitting there dormant until it's ready to go on the Cressy. For that time, I may as well chuck it in this shell and build a track beater out of it. At the end of the day, it's not really using any parts that I had earmarked for the Barrasil. I had sort of earmarked those knuckles and lower control arms to use in the Barrasil, but I want to put better brakes in the Barrasilvia anyway. And that being said, it's not hard to actually get more LCAs and knuckles and modify them myself. I would like to have a go at doing my own sort of front end setup. Alternatively, as you know, RB Factory is sort of pretty on board with us as far as doing that build, so he might be keen for us to try out some of his gear as well. I'd definitely be keen to try out some of his gear with it, so I'm not too worried about the Barrasil. I'm sure there's going to be other front end options when it comes to that, but apart from that, I'm not using any of the rear end components that I plan on using in Barrasil. I'm not using really any of the other Silvia components that are going to be going into that car, so it's not going to slow up that car. It's not taking away anything from that car. That car can still go ahead, but as I said, I've still got a fair bit of money to spend on that car to really get it going. Not heaps of money, but more money than I would have to spend to get this thing happening. The other thing is I've been thinking about that Barrasil quite a bit lately, and I would like to actually do a decent high comp Barra with some decent cams and, you know, skim the head, give it a bit of comp, do a bit of head work, get it flowing pretty well and put some big cams in it. So that's a bit more money, but it's going to make it worth doing NA. So yeah, it's the Barrasil's still going to go ahead, and the reality is once the Cressida is starting to come along to the point where I am ready for that motor combo, I'm assuming by then that shell will probably be pretty beaten up because I'm not going to be kind to it. Then I can just pull the motor combo back out and it can go in the Cressy. It's really no setback at all. Otherwise it's just going to sit there and do nothing until it's ready. So all I'm really looking at is whack a cam in that LS1, put a set of springs in it, that's it. Whack it with the TR6060 in there. I'll just give it a matte, just a dirty black closed door. Not a closed door like Rex's closed door, like a proper closed door. And just make it sort of presentable enough. I'll put my drag wing back on it. I might put some skirts and some aero on it, make it look sort of drift boy coolish, but you know, not spend a lot of time on it because I do plan on really bashing it, and it's something that I can really start driving a lot more with other people. I can start doing a lot of tandems, rubbing doors, and I will not be worried about it at all. So that's going to allow me to progress my driving quite a bit. Being aspirated LS1 as well, it should be reliable so I should just be able to churn laps, you know, go to Archie and just churn laps, rub people's doors, have a lot of fun. So all I really have to buy is the cam. We've got so many LS cam springs, it's not funny. And a clutch and a tail shaft and some coilovers, and that's pretty much it. So as you can see, very, very cheap idea to just chuck together a build out of parts I got lying around. So that's pretty much my idea. Like I said, it's obviously we're not done with the 31 community yet because it works out that it's very easy for us to throw together another 31. So I'm sure some of you will be stoked about it. I'm sure a lot of you probably won't be too stoked about us LS swapping a 31, but the fact is it's using what I got to make something nice and reliable that's fast. At the end of the day, that LS with the cam and springs tuned properly should make, you know, 350 wheel all day long, which is more than that car has ever made. It's more than my car made even when it used to be tuned on 16 PSI with a 25 box in it, still more horsepower. It's pretty close to what we're looking to make out of Rex's car. So it's cheap power, it's easy to drive, and it'll be a lot of fun. So let us know what you think. That's pretty much my idea, and I'm hoping you're pretty stoked about it. So yeah, we're thinking about doing that over the next sort of couple of months so that we can sort of just get to the track and get thrashing again. So the initial plan would be for us to throw it together and me and Rex could just share it for a while. I don't know if you saw briefly in a video a few weeks ago or last week maybe, I don't know how long ago it was at this point, but we did get that E46 compact as part of the deal with our dyno and stuff. So Rex's plan is to pretty much do the same thing with that, is to pull he's got a LS1 down there in one of his Statesmans that's doing nothing. We've got that T56 that I actually rebuilt for the Cressy. For those of you who followed the Cressy build, you understand that I bought the TR6060 after I rebuilt the T56. But regardless, we still have a 6-speed down there and an LS1 in that car. So another LS combo that we can easily throw together into that E46 Compact, which would probably be the next build after the 31. So that way, yeah, so that way me and Rex can go trade paint on the track together, you know, 2 reliable, easy cars. And like I said, we can just thrash those cars until the Barra Silvia is ready. I can drive that. Once that's ready and the Cressidas come along to the point where I want the motor back for that, I'll just rip the LS out of the R31 and sell the shell or bin the shell or whatever. It depends how broken it is, but I'm just looking forward to I'm really wanting and looking forward to having a reliable car that has decent power that I can just go and rub doors with. I just want something that I don't particularly care about, which, as you know, this thing has not been that car because I've always had this weird sentimental attachment to this car, which is a real shame, but it is what it is. So let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. I know it's probably been a pretty long video and it's a bit convoluted, but just trying to get my ideas and what I've got out there so you understand my thought process into why I reckon it's a good idea to smash this car together, because it's not using parts that I need for anything else, and all those parts are going to be sitting there getting old and weathered anyway, so they may as well go into something to be used. So hit subscribe if you haven't already, hit like, comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next one. Catch you later. Peace, guys.